Hey there, everybody. It's Lance again with Love to Hate, back with another installment in my quick gamer thoughts from BGG Con 2022 series of videos. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Applejack. This is the brand new game from Uwe Rosenberg, and the publisher on this one is the Game Builders. This is a tile placement drafting set collection game. It is for 1 to 4 players, takes about 30 to 60 minutes, and it's for ages 8 and up. Now, this is a game that's been on the hot list on BGG, and you may not have heard of it, though, because as far as I am aware, this game is not available yet in North America. I don't know that there's actually an English version of this game. I think it is only in German, but as it is, this game is totally language independent. The only text that is involved on this game are some numbers on the different tiles, which tell you how much the tiles cost, slash how many points they give, but otherwise there is no language involved in this game other than the rulebook, of course, and we were playing with an English printed rulebook, so that's how we knew how to play this. So what is happening in this game? Well, you are building together a pasture, an orchard of different tiles that are going to have apples on them, blossom flowers, and honeycombs. And the way you place these tiles is going to determine how many points you get in this game. And points are honey. You are trying to get the most honey by the end of 3 rounds. Now, I say 3 rounds, but really it's more like 2.5 rounds, as the 3rd round is a lot shorter than the other 2 rounds. Now, this is a tile drafting game, and you can see there on the center board that there is a die that we will be moving around the spiral to get closer and closer to the center of that center board. And where that die stops, there are different shapes on it. There's a star, a circle, a square, a triangle. Well, the shape that it stops on, it will stop on every single one of those shapes. The shape that it stops on tells you which player's turn it is to go. So, for instance, stars will be for player 1, and triangles will be for player 2, and squares will be for player 3, so on and so forth. And so that will give you an idea of where your next turn is, and you can go ahead and look ahead and see the different tiles that are adjacent to where that die will be stopping at to tell you which tiles you are able to draft from, so you can plan ahead a little bit on your turn. Now, there is a possibility that the player next to you, in front of you, will draft one of those tiles that you might be able to draft from. So you're not 100% certain what tiles are going to be available for you, but you have a good idea. Now, when it is your turn, how this is going to work, you are going to buy one of those tiles that are available to you, paying the cost that is printed on the tile in the honeycomb. Some of the tiles have honeycombs on the outer edges of them, and it'll have a number on it, such as 8, for instance, and that means it costs 8 honey to be able to purchase that tile. Now, I mentioned earlier that honey is victory points, so you are paying with the victory points to be able to purchase these tiles. If you don't want to purchase a tile, or you're not able to afford one, you can alternatively gain 2 honey on your turn and take a tile, but you're going to be placing it face down on your player board, and that essentially means it's not going to help you for anything. It's a wasted tile, so you really don't want to do that. Now, what you're doing about placing these tiles on your board, you're trying to connect different honeycombs together, because as you connect a honeycomb with another honeycomb already on your board, you're going to earn honey for that connection. You will get the lesser of the 2 values on the honeycomb. So, for instance, if I place a tile that has an 8 connected to a honeycomb that is already on my board with a 4 on it, let's say, I will get 4 honey for that connection. But if it were, let's say, 12, then I would get 8, because the lesser of the 2 is the value that I'm getting back. So you want to try to connect honeycombs, but you also want to connect same colored apples. There are 7 different colors of apples that are on these tiles, and you are trying to make larger and larger areas of connected apples of the same color. So I want to try to get all my red apples together and all my orange apples and so on and so forth. Because the larger those connections, those sets of apples of the same color, the more points you get at the end of each time you score those apples. You can see there on the center spiral board that there are printed apples, and as the die crosses over one of those different colors of apples, you are going to score that set of apples. So when it crosses over the green apple, you score your green apples. Now, the way the scoring for this works is you have to have more of that colored apple in your largest set than what the number on the die says. if you want to score any points anyway. So as you can see, the die says 2, and you need to have at least 3 of that colored apple in your grouping if you want to get 1 point, because you take the number that's on the die and you subtract it from your group of apples. And the number on the die tells you what round it is. So as the die spirals in closer to the middle, you would move it back out to the end once it gets to the middle, and you would increase the number by 1. That's how the scoring for the apples are going to work. Now, you are also scoring points for your blossoms that are printed on the tiles, blossoms just being these little tiny flowers, and they're just very simple, going to give you 1 point for each one. And then in the second round, they're going to give you 2 points for each one. So you want to try to get a lot of blossoms as well. So in summary, you are getting points based off of your connection of the honeycombs, your different sets of colored apples, and the blossoms. Just total blossoms that you gain from throughout the course of the game. Now, at the end of this, there is some final scoring, and it's a bit complicated, and I'm not going to try to really explain it to you in too much detail. You essentially are going to get points for everything that I just mentioned. You're going to get it all over again, but the sets of apples that you have, the different colors, again, there's 7 different colors. If you're able to gain any points off of the biggest set that you have in the third round, then you will get a set collection bonus for each one that gives you points. And the more you get in that set, so for instance, if I am able to get 5 out of the 7 to give me points in the third and final round, that'll give me so many more points. If I can get 6 more, or if I can get 6 different colored sets that will give me points in the third round, that will give me more points. And if I can get all 7, that will give me the most points. I know that's a little complicated, but it is a little complicated, and that's one of my cons with this game. So let's get to the pros and cons. What are the things that I really like about this game? Well, I love the spiral board where you're moving the die and the different shapes on the board to tell you when you're going to be drafting again on your next turn, so that you can go ahead and plan ahead for the tiles that are available to you. That keeps things moving forward. It makes it so that the AP is not too bad on this game. You can plan ahead just a little bit, but again, you're not 100% sure that that tile is going to be available to you when it comes to your turn. There are a lot of ways to gain honey/victory points in this game. I've already mentioned the honeycombs, the apples, the blossoms, and you're scoring these things frequently throughout the course of the game. So it feels like you're getting lots of honey all the way throughout the course of the game. And again, that honey is the currency in this game. That's another really good thing I like about this game, as that really provides a lot of interesting choices when it comes time to buying those tiles and drafting, because I don't want to spend so much, because those are victory points. I need to really manage my honey wisely. What are the things that I don't know that I like about this game? Well, the end-game scoring is confusing. It takes a few times reading through it to make sure that you understand, and it takes a few times explaining it to the other players. When you're playing your first time or two, you're probably going to have to score each person individually just to make sure that everybody's scoring it the right way. It's confusing. It's a little bit overly complicated. Don't know that that really adds too much to the game. I could have done without some of the end-game scoring. And then for some people, I did not feel this way, because I absolutely love tile laying games. It's one of my favorite mechanics in board gaming, but I can understand why somebody might feel this game maybe takes a bit too long, especially if you're not a huge fan of tile laying. The game you're watching here did go not 105 minutes, an hour and 5 minutes, which may be just a bit too long for some people. All in all, I absolutely love this game, guys. This was one of the best things that I experienced at BGG Con. I'm a big fan of Uwe Rosenberg's games, and this game here is one of the best ones he's put out in recent memory. It was one of my favorite games at BGG Con. There was only one other game that I felt really kind of rivaled my experience with this one. And so as it is, this was a complete shocker for me. I did not know anything about this game prior to playing it, other than it was on the hot list, and I'm 100% sold on it. If I could get a hold of this game right this second, I would instantly buy it. And I tell you guys, this has been one of the best games I've played all year. A huge enjoyment. I'm going to rate this game an 8.4. It's a very solid experience for me. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait to try it out with Sam when we're able to get it, because I think this game will be a great game to play with non-gamers. There you have it. That's my thoughts on Applejack. It's from the Game Builders and Uwe Rosenberg. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of this game. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified of all of our great new content. I'm Lance, and this has been Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.